music was made by human or AI.
Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome once again to another live stream. As the more astute of you will recognize my dear friend David Chernick over there in the yellow corner. Over here in the purple corner, Gareth, he of many purple hats. And we often talk about modern sales. And today's question is a very interesting one. When or if will AI kill the need for actual human salespeople? When will that be the case? I want to start in there and saying that for transactional sales, I think that's already in part happened. For, I want to buy 30, I have a printer, I've run out of printer cartridges.
Yeah.
I go onto the thing, it asks me various questions, allots me a certain amount that goes into my thing. I say, yeah, I want to pay it off my card, and bang, it's done. So for that, we've now eliminated human interaction. Yeah. But for any kind of sale that requires a modicum of forethought and design, dare I say it, we're not there yet.
Is that right?
I think.
Is that right? Well, I mean, look, it's being used. I mean, it's already, I think Gartner said that by 25, and they said, Gartner would have said this a few months ago, if I still remember it. So this is the latest, that generative AI will be in 80% of all of the different sales software platforms by 25.
That's not the same thing as saying it will replace salesmen or people.
No. However, I mean, perhaps we ought to have a little go at some definitions or our own understanding.
Defining our terms is critical here. Go on.
Yeah, so, I mean, so everybody's heard of AI. Most of you will have heard of generative AI. Just as a sort of a very crude difference between those two things. AI is really tools that are using the data that you have to come out with answers based on what the data is already in there. Generative AI is when it comes up, it creates its new stuff based on what it already knows. Okay, so it's a bit different. So with generative AI in things like CRM software is when it's writing emails for you.
Yes.
That kind of thing. All right. So, so you could have, my email system having a nice, happy conversation with somebody else's email system that, I don't know, might take 1,000th of the time that it would take me to have to get to know you and develop trust and, have those conversations, sometimes about touchy subjects, and have to process that and then come back and then deal with their fear of moving ahead because what are people going to think? Am I making the right decision? All of that. Well, look, so and that could happen like that with the generative AI that was able to root out the human stumbling blocks.
But look, let me just put a little spoke in those works for a second. Sales that are complicated, that have many moving parts, in part rely on belief and trust, and fall out very quickly if you're seen as not necessarily being over what the process would be once the sale is complete, and also will fall out very quickly if it feels like you're not being genuine. And being genuine is often a thing about seen as being authentic, about being real. And here's where the problem lies. And this is my big problem. I'm being, as a LinkedIn person, I see that LinkedIn are both promoting the use of AI. Yeah. Would you like to rewrite your post using this AI? And also downgrading the abilities of certain posts to propagate based on the fact that they're all based on AI. So I was talking to a branding specialist who's also one of my clients, Sally Inkster, earlier this morning. We were doing a live stream about personal branding. When is it good to make a mistake? Because making a mistake in your posts could be seen as a way of demonstrating you're in fact human.
Well, interestingly on that, I remember a long time ago, I mean, probably 15 years ago, and I think it was something that came out of MailChimp, where, you know, they'd be sending out, this was the beginnings of every Joe Blogs being able to get their hands on spam software, mate. And, you know, they had loads of data, obviously, because people were using it to sell out gazillions of emails. So they knew what was being opened.
Right.
What subject lines, for example, come out. And one of the things that got scored highly was the deliberate spelling mistake in a subject line, not of their name, but maybe a word like there or there or there. People think that.
But yes, but it irritating but allowable in the sense. Yeah. Do you know what one of the most negative? But one of the most negative things is when people use Zs everywhere, because that's almost indicative of the use of AI.
Well, look, I mean, there's a level of sophistication here, right? What I've described that happened 15 years ago was a low level of sophistication. Right, because what it was doing is saying that people get triggered, so they're more likely to open the email. Obviously, you know, what did they then do with the email? You know, did they click on it? Did they follow the link? Did they buy anything ultimately from it? I mean, you know, a lot of these things back then certainly were programmed wrong. They were programmed on being able to get clicks, in, you know, the version of clicks that we had 15 years ago, and clicks don't convert into sales by themselves. You need something a bit more. So the level of sophistication 15 years ago is obviously streets ahead. And when I receive something from, you know, some sort of AI or generative AI message, I mean, with the best one in the world, they're shit. They're so shit. However, as shit as they are, they didn't exist a couple of years ago.
So, quite
it's
right.
gone from non-existent to shit very quick, and it's going to go to from shit to pretty good also quite quick. Last night I went to a meeting. So my side hustle, for people that don't know, is I've got an events business and I DJ big fat private parties. So I went round to see a family there, and it's 2 weeks before their gig. Absolutely delightful family. And so we're talking about schedule, music that we're going to be playing, and that kind of thing. And one of the kids asked me about whether I'll be able to play AI generated music, okay, because he thought it was really good. So I'm like, that's the first time I've ever been asked that, right? As a request, instead of a request by somebody who's written an amazing tune that has lasted for 30 years because it's been so well written, that it was performed beautifully, you know, the production quality and everything. Instead of that, a tune that's been memorable, a tune that's been memorable for a year. No, request for an AI tune. Now, as it turns out, this kid told me that it was something that he had made. Right, he'd written the prompt for it. I asked him how long was this prompt. I don't think it was very long, but it was longer than short. So, you know, he put some thought into it.
Had 5 words in it. Yeah, go on, carry on.
So you know, so he's created something there, okay, that he has shown some demand for. So it's not beyond the realms of my imagination that actually a lot of the stuff that we do in sales, where we're doing things like trying to overcome objections, where we're trying to uncover what's the real thing that's keeping you up at night, you know, what you're really worried about, where we're trying to present a price and have a negotiation that is based on everybody knowing everything. You know, that old adage, you know, the mutual gain, you know, you can program that stuff. Yeah, you can outsource those sorts of decisions and come up with a way for your computer to talk to his computer, to talk to her computer, for it all to work out at some level of optimization, where in the background, you know, a buyer, which could also be programmed, could be twiddling the different knobs to decide how much of this sort of stuff do we need and what's most important to us, what's our risk profile, you know, all of the different variables that go into making a buying decision. You know, that can all be done. Why do we want to be part of that?
It's really hard. It's almost a moralistic question.
You and I had an argument before this call, right? Right? In the green room.
That never happened.
We didn't have to have that argument. We could have just like, do you know what, Gareth? Let's today just like put on AI, right? Generative AI. Yeah, let's crack on. And you and me can go and have a glass of wine. Actually, you're teetotal. So when is that going to happen? And is that going to happen is what the question is. Is that going to happen?
I think sales is going to change. I think sales is going to change. I think there'll be very, very high ticket sales will remain human based at the back end. I think all the argy-bargy about pricing and stuff like that.
What does that even mean? It's the human at the back end. What will they be doing at this back end? What do you want the human to be doing?
Oh, pressing hands, having dinners, and making nice noises to each other. What I mean is the decision about making the deal won't be just based on do the numbers fit. I think all the lower end sales will go completely AI and will disappear. You won't end up with. I mean, what
do you think that a human is going to be? What sort of sale is a human going to be influential in?
Very high-end cars, very large decorative items.
Consumer goods.
Consumer goods, yes. I'd also even think that at the top end, large, huge rollouts, for instance, of equipment in local and central government. I think there'll still need to be
anything with a policy, like a policy element.
Yes, I think the technical side will. I think technical pre-sales will disappear once. But yeah, having said that, it's all about data and information passing, and if that's not actually happening efficiently, then that could f up, frankly. But. Yeah. I don't think we're there yet, but I think.
So it's then. So is that a will or when will? AI? So will that happen? Yeah, you've just said.
Yeah.
When? How long? How long?
Oh, okay. I would say within 2 years, 80% of lower end sales jobs will disappear.
Kill sales, I've asked. Kill sales. I've only answered this question, by the way, because I've been asked it.
No, I understand that, but I don't think we can go all sales. I could say lower end sales jobs for, and I think there'll be going to be lots of subscriptive AI models that people will be able to buy into that will do all the sales argy-bargy with them. And you're going to end up with one set of AI bots interacting with another set of AI bots.
Right, let them crack on. I'd rather an AI bot dealt with an AI bot than me having to deal with an AI bot.
Oh no,
I got a theory.
That wasn't the question, though. I'm just saying that the sales jobs, both the sales and the buying jobs, at the lower end will disappear.
Yeah. Okay.
Within 2 to 5 years.
I have got a theory. About what might come.
Not
the ultimate future. I can't predict that far in the future, but I've got a little bit of a theory. If you look at the high street, how the high street changed over the last 20 years, right?
Right.
Where it's fewer ubiquitous brands.
Right.
And fewer sort of clothes shops and stuff like that, and stuff where you buy things that you can buy online, and more sort of a combination of highly specialized, very, very niche sort of businesses or shops, and like artisan shops, and obviously charity shops, and then experiential sorts of things like gambling and leisure and lots of eating and stuff like that. And I wonder whether that there'll be, you know, that's in my outlook, maybe in a couple of years, it'll be what will happen to sales will be like what happened to another channel, which is the high street. And when we talk about sales, we're usually talking about the sales of services, business services, usually.
But I also want to point out one thing, because we need to wrap this up. The sales is also about fashion, and I think there are swings of the pendulum. I think it's very fashionable at the moment to work more and more towards the AI, whatever it is, and I think it may swing the other way within 5 to 10 years, that people want that interaction back, and they want to start moving away from AI doing all the
It'll be in the Matrix by then. It'll be over.
Maybe so. And on that bombshell, I'd like to thank David. Thank you so much for yet another riveting discussion. And say to all of you out there, please keep your feet on the ground, reach for the stars, and wear some sunscreen. Have yourselves a lovely week and look after that mental health. Bye-bye.
And your knees. Ciao, ciao.